Welcome to our podcast. Hi, I'm Dr. Erin Lucie.
I'm Micah Lucie.
And today we're going to have our first podcast and talk about the history of us and Luminate Clinic.
So today for the first episode, we thought we'd talk about our story, really how we met, how Luminate Clinic became to be, and just the importance and kind of the mission behind what we do.
I think some people say our story is like a Cinderella story. Mike and I met at a engagement party. I was there for a few minutes, brief minutes, and then I ended up leaving because I had to study for an exam.
Yeah, so funny enough, we actually got married before those people did, which is crazy. Yeah, they just, long engagement, like, no, we know this is the right thing. We need to make it happen. So now we're actually heading towards our 11th year of marriage and 4 kids later, and it's been an amazing ride. So, yeah, for sure. Go ahead. So, as far as Luminate Clinic, we're here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and this is actually our 6th year being open, which is amazing. I can't believe 6 years, 4 kids, all the craziness, and we're still here, which is awesome. But for us, it's really a calling what we do. So for her, as being a nurse practitioner, being in aesthetics for over 20 years, and myself being a functional health coach, functional health practitioner, it's really an amazing thing that honestly I never thought I'd ever be a part of. I was in banking for like 10 years, super boring. I was like, I'm going to climb the corporate ladder and do all this stuff, and really just did not feel like it was my purpose at all. But when I met her and learned about being in health and seeing what she was doing, I just felt called to do something different. So I totally left banking, jumped in and got my master's in healthcare administration, and I was like, maybe I'll work for a hospital, which I also didn't want to do that either. So but just kind of God aligned things together for us, not just in our relationship as far as having the opportunity to start this business. She was actually working, I'll let her talk about this for sure, but she was working for a different clinic at the time. So kind of tell that story a little bit.
My journey started a long time ago. Obviously, when I was growing up, my mom owned a beauty shop in our small town. I'm from Perkins, Oklahoma. And my father owned a ranch. So I grew up around horses and animals and being outside and with nature. And I'm Chickasaw Native American. And I think since both of my parents owned a business, that's just kind of the way that I grew up. Like, you needed to work for yourself and really kind of make that happen. But my mom owned this beauty shop, and I would go to work with her every day and really kind of just see what it was like and being around women and making them feel better. And I remember a story my mom told me about how whenever something crazy in your life happens, the only thing that sometimes you can change is your hair, like cut your bangs or cut your hair and make it shorter or dye the color. And for women, like being able, when your life is crazy and my life is crazy with all of our kids, you kind of have this, at some point you need to take control. And that's what we see whenever we do aesthetics and whenever, like in the beauty shop, you have men and women that are coming in and really trying to figure out what's going on with their life, which is something we talk about during consultations is, what is your why? Why are you here? Why now? Like, what's going on? And is it a wedding? Is it an anniversary, a funeral, a family event? Like, what's happening in your life to make you have that decision of going into a treatment, right? So growing up in this beauty shop, I was around the beauty industry, and I went to beauty school when I was 16 so that I could help pay my way through college. And I ended up, beauty school is hair, skin, and nails. And while we learn all of everything, hair, skin, and nails, I originally started in a hair salon, thought I wanted to be a color specialist, and didn't like it as much, and my sister had a job at a medical spa, which was one of the very, very first medical spas, because this is like 25 years ago, and that was the year that Botox came out. So they had an IPL machine and a Botox, and I learned how to do lasers when I was very, very young at 18. So that's kind of my history. As I started out in aesthetics, so I've always been doing aesthetics, and then I have my degree in art, and thought I wanted to do art education and art therapy, but I was already within this world of aesthetics. It's kind of hard to get out, like once you're in it and you see how happy it makes people. I went further on and got my master's in nursing and then my nurse practitioner and opened the spa, and then met Micah and opened another spa. So it was really kind of a great balance when he said he did healthcare administration but did not like working in a hospital. Kind of talked to them about how, like, what changed that, because he wanted to go into more patient facing and less behind the scenes and less management. And I think it all stems from your mom.
Yeah, actually, yeah, a lot of this started with my mom. So it's been 14 years now, but I lost my mom to cancer. And, obviously she never met her grandkids. They never got the chance to have this amazing grandma. But really the thing that struck me the most was just how little control she had over the decisions of her health, how her life was going to be run at the end. And for me, it's like, wow, that power was taken away from her. And I just felt like this calling that I need to put that power back in the hands of people, because ultimately what's going to happen is you have two choices. You get to choose how you're going to live and ultimately, pass on, or that's going to be taken away. And I just, money isn't the thing. I mean, I think people get twisted up when it comes to money, but really it's about investing in your health. And that's the way I look at it. That's what I do for myself. But
that's what my dad says. Your health is your wealth.
It is true.
Yeah.
Well, you think about even like, look at Steve Jobs, for example. This guy was a billionaire and he did all these experimental things, everything he could to stay alive longer. But even with all his money and power, it still didn't save him. So health is everything. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You can't take that with you. And that was actually one of the things too. When my mom passed away, she had this art room. And I remember going in there after she had passed, and there was all these little projects she had started that she was never going to finish, So all these things that seemed super important at that time, just can't do anything about it. But
and all those things from that art room are in my art room now.
yeah, we have them. So
the legacy lives on.
She'll finish them on for me. But and then my own health journey too. So I was born with a condition called mitral valve prolapse. They found it when I was about 7 years old. Heard a heart murmur, and we need to dive into this and figure out what this is. But they found out it's a condition called mitral valve prolapse. A lot of people have that, but there's huge differences in severity. So I'm on the other end of the spectrum, super severe. And basically what it is, it's one of my valves. We'll get there, but the valve didn't close all the way. So that means blood would actually go backwards, causing my heart to work extra hard. So if you think about like a boat, if you had a hole in the boat and you're trying to get water out with this bucket, but water keeps coming back into the boat, that's basically what my heart was doing 24/7.
So it puts you at a high risk for a stroke, because that blood is kind of, instead of flowing, you could create a clot. So they always put you on a blood thinners. And usually they say, we'll do a repair when you're older. When you're 65 is kind of traditionally when they would do a repair.
Yeah, because I'd be this little kid going into these cardiologist's office with all these 70+ year olds, and I'm 9. Hey, you want some candy? I'm what am I doing here? So really health for me has always been kind of in the background of my life anyway, just having that condition. So I'll kind of jump into what happened for me from that point. But so 2023, Erin and I had been talking about doing heart surgery, getting this finally fixed. In August of 2023, I was on a golf course with my dad and one of his friends, get to the second tee box, and I actually fell out of the cart. My heart had completely stopped. I went into cardiac arrest.
And as a medical professional, you know that cardiac arrest, aside from dying, cardiac arrest is the worst thing that can happen, because your heart just stops. So the chance of survival of cardiac arrest is 1 to 3%, and that's if somebody is there to actually perform CPR.
Yeah, out of the hospital. So, but if you're not in a hospital setting, just out about in the world, and this happens.
Right.
Very small chance, yeah.
If he had been driving, or we have a home gym at home, he just worked out that morning. If he had been working at home alone, he would have been gone.
Yeah, and we're followers of Christ for sure, and this is definitely a God thing. So on that course, the guys behind us, I didn't know them, but is two guys that were supposed to play a different course that day, couldn't get in the spot, so they came to the course that we were at, and they saw all this commotion happening and ran over to see what's going on. And they saw me on the ground. One of the guys was trying to do CPR, didn't know what he was doing. But one of these guys that ran over happened to be a retired Navy medic. So he jumped down and did CPR, while the ambulance finally got into the golf course. So they were able to eventually get a pulse, but yeah, so it's been a long journey, and it was just a crazy thing that happened like that. But ended up going from there to a hospital here in Tulsa called St. Francis. They had to put me into a medically induced coma, but you think about for her, she gets a call from my dad before, as this is happening, saying, we don't know what's going on. They couldn't get a pulse back for him on the golf course. And she's sitting in this hospital room waiting for them to wheel me in, not knowing what that's going to look like. I can't imagine what she went through for that. But
it's going to make me cry.
But yeah, so they brought me in, obviously had to establish a pulse, but the big thing was brain damage. So with cardiac arrest, that's the big problem, is that if you don't get oxygen to the brain, I mean, you're talking minutes, your brain is severely damaged and may never come back. So they put me in this medically induced coma to basically give me the best fighting chance to survive, to come out of that. Yeah, so you want to tell the story about the priest? Nothing is priest.
Well, I think that, as a medical professional, kind of what's going on that maybe like the rest of your family doesn't understand. So they take us into this tiny little side room away from the waiting room, and then all the doctors come in and the priests come in. I'm like, this is not good. I mean, I know it's not good, but it's like really not good when they take you to the private room in the back. And the minister had said, this is God's will. Well, they asked if I believed in God first. And then they said, this is God's will. And I said, it is not. We have 4 small children. One of them is a baby. They're all babies. They were like 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5. They're young. And I did not want to be a single mother of 4 small children. And the priest said, it's okay. My dad died when I was little. This is his will. And me and my sister was really the one that kind of kicked him out. And it was tough. It was tough because the doctors kept saying that, obviously we don't know what is going to happen. We don't know if he's going to wake up. We don't know if he's going to be brain dead. His dad was the one playing golf with him, and it's hard when you have the stress, because then you're not a good historian. You're not able to tell how, like, what exactly happened, because I remember asking his dad how long before they started CPR, and he had said like 10-15 minutes, which obviously didn't happen because he would have been brain dead if they had waited 10 minutes to do CPR. But I think that they started CPR a lot quicker than what happened. And then looking at the phone records, they did CPR for about, I think, 9 or 10 minutes before the fire truck got there, because the golf course was in the country. Anyways, after the priest came in and we all talked a while about what was going on and next steps, they transferred Micah to the ICU, and he was still kind of obviously intubated, and we didn't know what was going to happen. But I will say, as a testament to Micah, with his functional medicine practice, and we knew that he was going to be getting heart surgery. Like, we knew surgery was going to come. He actually had a consult the next week to have surgery done. We knew that he had been taking care of himself for a long time. Like he said, he knew that he was going to be having this surgery ever since he was a child, and preventative care and preventative health is really something that he had worked on. So whenever he woke up, which was a miracle in and of itself, I always thought, he's going to be so mad that he hadn't had his surgery yet, because I think he thought he would be having his surgery. But during, he didn't have his surgery yet, but he had it later. During the time that Micah was slowly waking up, the doctors really said that he had obviously a miraculous recovery, but they were really amazed that his blood sugar was so stable while he was in the coma. They didn't have to give him extra supplements for his blood sugar, even though he hadn't eaten in days. And his liver and kidneys, like all of these things were, like, they thought he was going to have to be on dialysis and have a liver transplant and like all these transplants. And he really he didn't. He has had a full recovery. And I think that goes to show how much nutrition and health goes into your prevention, because he had been preparing his body for surgery. He was actually working out really hard before the surgery, and he knew, okay, I'm going to be on bed rest for like a week. This is how much muscle mass I'm going to be losing during this time. And he calculated all of that. So that didn't happen for his surgery, but he was really ready for this moment. And Micah talks a lot about, are you ready for the big bad wolf? Because it's coming at some point. And I think that was his big bad wolf that we weren't prepared for, but we knew that he was going to have something serious, and he had prepped his body for that moment.
Yeah, because I mean, the big bad wolf, so you think about the Three Little Pigs story, he comes and blows the straw house down, the stick house down, but he could not blow the brick house down. And that's really, for me, I'm trying to get the people, my clients that I serve, to get their bodies into that house of bricks, because you can't avoid it. No one's going to be healthy or, avoid a major thing forever. Something's going to happen, but it's just getting you prepared for that. But I'll tell you, it changed my story for sure. I'd actually, that 2023, I got my practitioner license. I was like, yeah, I'm helping some clients, but now that I've lived it, have gone through it, have survived it. Obviously, God is a major part of that, but also the principles, the way that I teach my clients, I've been living them. So it's changed everything for me as far as my purpose. There's much more urgency now. It's not just like, we'll just help the clients as they come. It's like, no, people need this. There are millions of people out there that need this now, because their future is not guaranteed. So, yeah.
One of the things that you say, Micah, all the time is like, you would die for your family, but would you live for them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's really kind of what we focus on, is being able to create like that life. Our tagline here at the office is beauty, body, balance. And how do we have it all? How do we have that confidence to go into work? And how do we have confidence and that ability to be with our families and have energy when we come home from work? Obviously, we have to be working. We have to go to work. We have to send our kids to school. But we want to have enough energy and happiness and, I don't know, just life in our life.
Vitality.
That's
always the buzzword.
That's the word. In our life, to live life with the people that we love and that we want to spend time with.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk about sex too, because that's the thing. It's like, I love focusing on the inside. It's really kind of the star, but our team is amazing at the outside as well. So, I mean, you kind of want to talk about your history with aesthetics and what that really looks like and what we do at the clinic.
Yeah, so Luminate Clinic has kind of pivoted or grown really through the years. I think starting out as an esthetician, like really knowing skin and skin health has always been very important to me. And it's very front or forward thinking or front facing whenever we talk about our clients and what our goals are. There are a ton of med spas where it is somebody that has been in medicine or they've been doing something else and they think, oh, it's going to be fun to do some Botox, or I want to do this on the side and I'm going to order some Botox and filler. And they might be able to inject a substance, but they also might not be able to like have the, creative or aesthetic eye that somebody like myself will have. And I don't want to say that I'm better than everybody, but I have a different background, right? So I started out in aesthetics. I know how to apply makeup. I know shading, and I know how the skin should look, and I know that the skin should be healthy. And then, so that's from my aesthetic side. And then I have my degree in art where I learned, what the rule of threes and the rule of sevens and how Michelangelo and, how all of these amazing artists think that the body should be shaped or the face should be shaped, and what are the contours and what are all the things, right? So I try to combine my artistic ability and my background with my aesthetics and making sure that the skin is healthy. And then obviously we do dermatology and family practice, and so we know kind of skin diseases. And then I have this amazing staff who I've trained to do kind of everything the way that I would do things. And I like to say we're like the McDonald's, where everybody does the same thing every single time and our patients are getting really great results. But not like a McDonald's, because we want to make sure that everybody is having this elevated experience and they truly are getting the best. So one of the things I love about our practice is that we run it like kind of like a tiny little hospital where we have morning rounds every day. And so we all meet as a team early before the office opens, and we sit down with the patient's charts and we go over every single patient that's coming in. So even if I haven't seen a patient in 3 months, I still know what's going on with them, and we are all talking about what's happening. So my nurse knows what's going on. She knows, what their Botox units are. She knows what their next plan is. Our esthetician knows what's going on. And so we talk about every single patient all the time.
Yeah, and I just like the focus that we have on clients. I mean, we get a lot of clients that will see an Instagram look that they think they need, or some sort of extreme version of something that's really not based totally in reality. But I love that we kind of coach them through that, as far as let's try to keep you as natural as possible. You're not going to like that result because, this isn't going to be a long-term thing that you can sustain, or it's just not going to look the way you think. And it's funny because especially for like filler, for example, people come in and say, why won't this filler? This is my friend got, or I saw this on, TikTok, and then they'll go do it somewhere else because we didn't give them what they wanted, but they come back because we have to fix it. So I just think that's what I love about our clinic. It's focused on trying to make somebody as authentically them as possible. Aging happens, right? But can we just bring out that natural beauty inside and out for somebody so that they can age the way that they want? The number's you can't stop the number from growing, but you can stop a lot of things. So
that's true. Preventative health, whether it's like inside or outside, is going to be the biggest thing, right? And Micah was talking about filler, and that's really something that we see often, is that you'll have these clinics that pop up and they just went into a weekend training on how to do filler, and they don't have the knowledge and the expertise to execute it all the way. So we do have patients that come in and they want to do their lips first, but they might not need their lips. They actually need their chin built up. Because if you do lips without chin, then the lips are just going to fall down. If you do under eyes without doing cheeks, then under eyes start to look puffy. So it's about the full structure and the shape, and you have to take everything into account whenever we're talking about doing filler procedures. And I think there is a lot of fear behind filler because it's something that you can get done quickly, but then it can go wrong very, very fast, right? And filler was FDA approved, I don't know, maybe like 25 years ago, but it just kind of depends on, there's a lot of new, better fillers on the market. And so you also want to take into account, like, what kind of filler is this? Is it a biostimulator? And biostimulators are a type of filler that help to increase collagen. I'm sure we'll talk about this on another podcast. But with the biostimulators, I think that's really where Luminate shines, is because we're trying to keep the skin healthy. So if a patient comes in and they want to do filler, or they want to do threads, those things can be quick fixes, but ultimately we want to make sure that the patient is going to be keeping their skin healthy and keeping their skin bright and tight and just overall have a healthy glow to it, right?
Bright and tight.
Bright and tight.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as in the medical spa, even here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it's a very kind of cutthroat industry. There's a lot of medical spas. There's a lot of people thinking that they can do this stuff, but it's our 6th year in business. So I mean, we've survived COVID. We've survived us having 4 kids. We've had a great team. So I mean, I think it's a testament to what we do, the fact that we've survived this long and continue to grow.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think part of that growing is making sure that we're putting customers first and really kind of what's best for the customers. Like I said, somebody will come in asking for a filler, but they don't need filler. They need skin resurfacing. And I know when I'd already kind of started the clinic before Micah came on board because he was at the hospital, but he was like, why do you have so many lasers? Why do we have all this equipment? And the reason is because we want to make sure that we're actually treating the skin. And so we focus on a couple different things. I focus on the tone of the skin. Are you creating brown spots, redness, veins, volume? If there's volume loss, especially now with GLP-1s, we have a lot of volume loss. And then we look at revolumizing, retexturizing, tightening the skin. And we do this full face and body.
Yeah.
And really, it's kind of grown, Luminate has grown to a regenerative and preventative clinic because we want to make sure that we're preventing future damage. And now there are lots of things on the market now like PDRN and exosomes and peptides and all of these things that we're going to talk about. But I think that Luminate is really on the cutting edge of making sure that patients have the very best of the best, and not just trends, but things that are proven and researched and are going to make you healthier and happier over time in the long run, not just quick fixes.
Yeah, because I mean, you think, for example, like a GLP-1 can be super effective, but the thing is, people understand is that 40% of that weight lost is muscle. So it's like, yeah, you're having these great results, the scale is changing, but if you don't get the support as far as like the lifestyle around it, the right nutrition, the right sort of movement, exercise, all those pieces, and it actually can set you back more than it's going to help you on the long term. So it's very important for sure.
Mm-hmm. And that's where we can really kind of help manage all of those things, because I think that you can have, a primary care doctor or a care team to where you're actually like getting all the care that you need from your hormones and your peptides and gut health. And one of the other reasons that we brought gut health into this and functional nutrition is because whenever I had a patient that I was doing filler on, and we would do this really kind of aggressive filler or a thicker filler that lasts for 2 years. And this filler would go away so fast, but she was in her 30s. And then we found out she had premature ovarian failure. And so if we had just replaced her hormones first, then we wouldn't have probably had to do filler. And so being able to look at the full thing of what's going on, because all of your hormones are made in your gut, your neurotransmitters, your nutrition. So if we're going to be putting things on our face like vitamin C and peptides and exosomes, we want to make sure that it's all working together, especially when we do laser resurfacing and skin tightening. If you don't have like NAD in your system, if your cells don't have that energy, you're not going to be able to rebuild and retighten the skin. So that's why we kind of do everything all together, to have that complete package of functional nutrition, like health on the inside and health on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like having a car that's like leaking oil, it's blowing white smoke everywhere. You're like, I just need a paint job. I'll fix it, right? It's like, no, I mean, the engine's going to break down any moment. So, no, that paint job won't save you. But, yeah, for sure.
Look good, feel good.
That's it. Look good, feel good. Okay, anything else to talk about?
That's
Good?
all I got
okay.
for today.
Bye-bye.